The world moved through its normal routine, unaware that something strange was happening far beyond the orbit of the moon. People went to work, children went to school, and cities glowed with lights as evening fell. No one knew that something was watching Earth, something that had not been seen for generations. Ethan Hale did not believe in rumors or secret groups. He was a calm man, patient, with sharp eyes that noticed small details. He worked at a deep space monitoring station on the western coast, checking long-range signals sent from probes and satellites. Most days were quiet. Most days he sat for hours, looking at screens and reading data that never changed. But that day was different. A new signal appeared on his screen. It was faint at first, only a small distortion hidden in the background. Ethan thought it was simple interference at first. Space was full of random noise, but the pattern repeated. Then it repeated again and again every few minutes. Ethan leaned closer. The pattern was too clean, too intentional. He ran a test. Then he ran another. The signal became clearer with each one. He felt a small chill travel up his neck. He did not believe in ghosts, but something about the signal felt like a whisper from the dark. Laura Briggs joined his shift an hour later. She was bright, quick-thinking, and known for her skill in decoding strange transmissions. When Ethan told her about the signal, she came to his desk with interest. "Show me," she said. He replayed the captured segment. It echoed through the speakers as a low, steady rhythm. Laura frowned. She did not like the sound of it. "This is structured," she said. "Someone is sending this on purpose, and it's not coming from anything we launched." That was the problem. All human-made probes had known signatures. This signal had none of them. They checked everything again. They checked the time stamp, the angle, the location of the sun, and even the reflection off Earth's magnetic field. Nothing explained the strange transmission. Laura sat back in her chair. "We should report this." Ethan nodded, but he hesitated. He glanced at the time. They needed more proof before they could alert their supervisors. False alarms never made anyone happy. While the two of them worked through data, something else was happening across the world. A hidden network known as the Guardians was waking up. Most people on Earth had never heard of the Guardians. Their names sounded like something from fiction, but they were real. They were formed long ago during the early days of space exploration. Only a few leaders knew about them. They protected Earth from dangers no one believed in. Their stations were hidden in remote mountains, deep ocean trenches, and underground shelters. Some were not even on Earth. They had small outposts on the far side of the moon and even a secret station drifting near the asteroid belt. For decades, the Guardians had remained silent. No threats had appeared, and most of their technology was left in standby mode. The people who served in the group trained endlessly but never saw actual action. But on that day, every station registered the same strange signal Ethan had found. Lights turned on in abandoned halls. Long muted systems hummed back to life. Doors that had not opened in years slid open. Commander Daniel Brooks was in the main underground facility when he received the alert. He was a steady man with a calm voice and a clear mind. He understood danger better than most people. He had spent half his life preparing for a threat that might never come. When he saw the coded message from the signal analysis team, he stood without hesitation. He sent a message to Melissa Hart, one of the top strategists in the Guardians. She worked in the orbital division and was known for her sharp mind. When she received the message, she stopped mid-sentence during a routine report and walked straight to the command deck. "Is this real?" she asked. Daniel nodded. The readings matched the old warnings. Melissa felt her heartbeat quicken. She read through the data again. The signal matched the early markers of something the Guardians feared, the return of a hostile species that had once attempted to survey Earth. There were old stories about them. Most of the records were destroyed or locked away, but the Guardians remembered. The species was called the Seraphim Dominion by the few who knew of them. They were not friendly explorers. They were not curious scientists. They were conquerors who traveled quietly, attacking without warning. The last time they came near Earth, the Guardians stopped them before the world ever knew. But it was not a victory. It was more like a warning shot. The Seraphim had left, but the Guardians always believed they would return. Melissa turned to Daniel. "Do we activate Protocol Gray?" Daniel breathed in slowly. "Not yet, but prepare everything." Back at the monitoring station, the signal grew stronger. Ethan checked the newest readings and felt his stomach twist. "Laura," he said quietly, "this isn't one signal anymore, there are several." Laura hurried to his screen. She saw it too. Multiple points now pulsed in the same pattern. They were moving closer to the solar system. "How far out are they?" she asked. Ethan clicked through the calculations. "Farther than the outer planets, but moving fast, really fast." Laura stared at the screen. "This is not good." They contacted their supervisor. The call was brief. The supervisor listened, grew silent, and then gave them instructions to send the data to a higher authority. After the call ended, Laura looked at Ethan. "Do you think anyone will believe us?" Ethan shook his head. "Not the public, but someone will." He was right. Deep beneath the surface, Daniel Brooks received their report and the updated readings. Melissa stood beside him as the lines on the screen changed with each new signal. "They are approaching in formation," Melissa said. "This is not exploration. This is a military advance." Daniel stared at the growing cluster of signals. "And they know exactly where to go." It was clear now. The Seraphim were returning, and they were not coming peacefully. While the Guardians prepared quietly, the rest of the world remained unaware. People slept peacefully, not knowing that something hostile was closing in from the cold dark beyond the planets. In a coastal city, Ethan left the station late that night. He thought about the strange signals the whole drive home. He passed a group of people laughing outside a restaurant. They had no idea what was happening. Their lives were normal, peaceful, untouched. Ethan wondered how long that peace would last. Laura stayed at the station a bit longer. She sat alone, replaying the signals through her headset. She tried to decode hidden patterns, but whatever the Seraphim used was far more advanced than any human system. She made a copy of the data and secured it. She did not know why, but she felt like it was important. Something deep inside her told her that the world would soon need every piece of information. At the same time, Melissa Hart sent orders to activate the lunar station. It powered up slowly, lights glowing in long corridors filled with dust. Machines tested themselves, defensive systems turned on. "We have not used this place in decades," one engineer reported. Melissa nodded. "We might need it now." Daniel prepared the main command room. People moved quickly to their stations. Data screens lit up with activity. The Guardians were no longer silent. "If the Seraphim enter the inner system," Daniel said, "we will have only moments to respond." Melissa looked at the star map. "They know exactly where our defenses are weakest. We have to move before they strike." For the rest of the world, dawn approached like any other day. But for the Guardians, dawn marked the beginning of something far more dangerous. Ethan woke early, unable to sleep. He checked his messages and found a request for him and Laura to report to a classified briefing. He felt the tightness in his chest return. Laura arrived at the station looking tired but focused. "Did you get the message too?" Ethan nodded. "This is serious." They entered a secure room. A screen turned on showing Commander Daniel Brooks. Ethan and Laura sat straight, not sure what to expect. "Your work confirmed something important," Daniel said calmly. "You detected a threat long before anyone else. We need your help now." Ethan felt a strange fear mixed with pride. "What kind of threat?" Daniel paused for a moment. "An old enemy, one humanity does not remember." "But the Guardians do." Laura blinked. "Guardians?" Daniel gave a small nod. "Yes, and now they are returning." With those words, the truth began to unfold. The truth about the Guardians, the truth about Earth's secret protectors, and the truth about the enemy that was drawing ever closer. Far beyond the outer planets, the Seraphim ships changed formation. Their engines glowed softly as they accelerated. They did not broadcast messages. They did not send warnings. They moved with purpose, with cold intent toward Earth, and the Guardians waited in silence, preparing for the attack they had feared for generations. The Seraphim ships crossed the edge of the solar system without slowing. Their movement was smooth and cold, like shadows drifting through a silent sea. They did not care about the planets they passed or the rocks floating in the darkness. Their only goal was Earth. They had waited long enough to return. Now they moved with confidence, believing that their strength was greater than anything humanity could offer. Inside the main Guardian base, the air was tense. People moved from one station to another, checking screens, running tests, preparing systems that had not been used in years. The hum of machines filled the underground halls. Lights glowed along long corridors. It felt like the heartbeat of a giant waking from sleep. Commander Daniel Brooks stood in the command room, watching the star map update. Each glowing point represented a Seraphim ship. More appeared with every hour. He kept his voice steady even though he understood the true danger. The Seraphim were not explorers, they were hunters. Melissa Hart stepped beside him. She had not slept. Her eyes were sharp and focused. Their formation is shifting again, she said. They are testing our detection systems. Daniel nodded. They want to see how much we know. And they think we are weak, Melissa replied. They think humanity is nothing. Daniel looked around the room at the Guardians. He knew they were ready, even though fear hid behind many faces. This was what they had trained for. In the secure meeting room, Ethan Hale and Laura Briggs sat across from a panel of Guardian officers. Neither of them had expected this. Their normal lives had been replaced by a situation too large to believe. They still tried to understand what they had stepped into. "We need your continued help," one officer said. "The Seraphim signals are changing quickly, and you two were the first to detect the patterns." Laura leaned forward. "What exactly do they want? Why come here now?" Daniel Brooks entered the room, answering without hesitation. "They want the Guardians. They want technology buried deep beneath Earth." Ethan frowned. "Technology? What kind?" Daniel took a slow breath. "Something very old, something powerful, something we were meant to protect, not use." Laura felt a chill. "And they think they can take it." Daniel met her eyes. "They will try, but we will not let them." Outside the secure room, things were moving quickly. Engineers prepared defense drones. Operators monitored incoming energy signatures. Teams prepared to move to off-world stations. One of the first places to activate was the lunar station. It was old, quiet, and covered in layers of dust. But when its systems powered on, the dust lifted into the air like a soft cloud. Lights slowly brightened. Doors unlocked themselves. Machines checked their own functions. A handful of Guardians arrived by shuttle. They stepped into the dim hallways and began clearing old equipment. The station was needed now more than ever. Melissa contacted the lunar team. "You must prepare long-range defense. They will reach your sector first." The leader of the lunar group, a steady man named Eric Dawson, replied, "We will be ready." Back on Earth, Ethan and Laura followed Daniel into another room. It was darker, quieter, and filled with screens showing coded symbols. "What is this place?" Ethan asked. "The memory archive," Daniel said. "Everything the world forgot is stored here." Laura felt uneasy. "Forgot or made to forget?" Daniel gave a small nod. "Both. The Seraphim were erased from global records after their first encounter with the Guardians. Only we kept the truth." He activated a screen. Old images and reports appeared. Sketches of alien ships. Scans of strange energy bursts. Records of a battle fought far from Earth. Ethan stared. "They came here before." Daniel nodded again. "They tried to map Earth. They tried to test us. They left after suffering losses, but they promised to return. We knew they would. We built the Guardians for this reason." Melissa entered the room with new updates. "Their advance has changed again. They moved into attack formation." Daniel turned to Ethan and Laura. "You two must join the signal team. We need your eyes on anything that changes." They followed Melissa out. Their normal lives felt far away now, like memories from another world. The Seraphim fleet grew closer. They formed a wide arc around the outer planets. Their ships were smooth, silver, and shaped like long wings. They moved without light, without heat, leaving almost no trace behind. Only advanced Guardian sensors could track them. When they passed Neptune, the first small Guardian drones activated. These drones were tiny, almost invisible. They drifted through the cold vacuum, sending quiet pulses of information back to Earth. "They are scanning," Melissa said as she watched the data come in, "trying to find our positions." Daniel looked at the readings. "And they still do not know what we have hidden." "Good." Ethan worked at one of the signal stations now. He listened carefully to every change in the Seraphim's communication patterns. Laura sat beside him, decoding strange symbols from intercepted transmissions. "This part repeats often," Laura said, pointing at a cluster of signals. "Maybe a command unit or a central leader," Ethan nodded. "If we can identify the main ship, we might understand their formation better." Hours passed. The Guardians were busy everywhere. Some prepared weapons. Others prepared transports. Some worked on hidden systems deep beneath the earth. Daniel walked past teams setting up emergency shelters. He stopped to speak with a younger guardian. "Are the lower tunnels ready?" "Almost," the young man replied. "We reinforced the support beams. Supplies are coming in now." Daniel nodded. "Good, keep working." He knew that if the Seraphim reached the planet's surface, the tunnels would be their last chance to protect the old technology buried below. At the lunar station, Eric Dawson watched the dark horizon. "They will pass near us soon," he said to his team. "Are the long-range weapons ready?" someone asked. "Almost," Eric said. "If they attack us, we defend. If they ignore us, we track them." Back on Earth, Laura noticed something strange in the data. "Ethan, look at this." He leaned closer. "That pattern changed." "Yes," Laura said. "It means they have detected something." Ethan stared at the lines. "They found one of our outer decoys." The Guardian command room filled with alerts. Melissa looked at the screens. The Seraphim destroyed the decoy. "One shot, clean hit." Daniel exhaled slowly. "They wanted to see our response. Do not engage, stay silent." But the Seraphim did not stop. They accelerated again. Their ships glided past Uranus and Saturn, moving like arrows toward their target. The Guardians prepared countermeasures. Drones lined up in hidden launch tubes. Old systems warmed to life. Energy barriers flickered and formed around secret bases. Ethan took a short break, stepping into a quiet hallway. He pressed his hand against his forehead. The pressure of everything weighed heavily on him. Laura joined him. "You okay?" He nodded. "Just thinking, we were doing normal work a day ago. Now we're helping defend the whole planet." Laura offered a small smile. "It's strange, but we're here now, and we do the best we can." They walked back into the command room just as a new alert flashed across the screens. Melissa spoke first. "The Seraphim fleet split into 3 groups. 2 are diversions. One is heading straight toward the Pacific region." Daniel nodded. "They know where the core facility is." Ethan and Laura exchanged uneasy glances. They had only heard hints about the core facility, but now they understood that it was important. "What do we do?" Laura asked. Daniel looked at the map. "We prepare. The silent war has begun." The Seraphim continued their advance. Their ships released small probes that scattered like silver birds through the dark. These probes scanned for energy signatures, searching for hidden stations. Some probes reached the moon. The lunar station detected them. Eric Dawson gave the order, "Do not fire unless they attack. Let them scan us, make them believe we are weaker than we are." But one of the probes moved closer, too close. "It is locking onto our energy core," a tech officer said. Eric made his decision quickly. "Take it out." A silent beam fired from the station. The probe flashed and vanished. Back on Earth, Melissa saw the update. "That will alert the fleet." Daniel nodded. "We have no choice now. They know we are not defenseless." The Seraphim ships changed direction again. Their speed increased. Small streaks of light formed near their hulls as their systems prepared for battle. Ethan felt his stomach tight. "They're coming faster now." Laura stared at the screens. "They know we are here. They know we will fight." Daniel stepped forward. His voice was calm. "Everyone to battle stations. Activate Protocol Gray." The room became silent for a moment. Protocol Gray was something everyone trained for, but no one had ever expected it to be real. Lights dimmed. Emergency systems activated. Energy pulses ran through hidden cables beneath the base. Drones launched into the sky. Satellites shifted positions. Cloaked stations warmed their weapons. And the Seraphim fleet entered the inner solar system. In the depths of space, the first silent clash began. The Guardians were ready, but the Seraphim were merciless. The silent war had truly begun. The Seraphim fleet entered the inner solar system like a storm without sound. Their ships did not shine or glow. They were shadows moving through space, quiet and cold. They did not send warnings, messages, or demands. They came with one purpose only, to destroy the Guardians and take the hidden technology buried deep beneath Earth. In the main Guardian command room, everyone felt the change the moment the enemy crossed into the final zone. The screens lit with new alerts. The ground vibrated slightly as deeper systems activated. The air seemed heavier, filled with tension. Commander Daniel Brooks stood at the center of the room. His face was calm, but his eyes were hard. He had waited his whole life for this moment, but he had never hoped to see it. Now there was no choice. Humanity depended on him and the Guardians. Melissa Hart stood beside him, studying the new paths of the Seraphin ships. "They are moving fast," she said. "Too fast for standard interception, but our cloaked units are in position." Daniel nodded. "Initiate defense Wave 1. Keep Wave 2 hidden until we know how they respond." Outside Earth, in the dark space above the atmosphere, small Guardian drones activated. They were tiny, silent machines shaped like dark orbs. They had no bright engines or large weapons. Their strength came from stealth and precision. They drifted in patterns invisible to the human eye. When the Seraphin entered their range, the first wave of drones moved. Not with loud blasts or shining beams, but with soft pulses of guided energy aimed at the Seraphin scanning systems. The pulses disrupted sensors, scrambled maps, and caused small confusion in the enemy formation. It was enough to slow them, but not stop them. A Seraphin destroyer fired a counter-pulse, and a group of drones vanished instantly. Melissa watched the update on her screen. "Their response time is faster than our predictions. They studied us," Daniel replied. "Then we adapt." Below, on Earth, deep inside the Pacific region, the Guardian's core facility remained calm and dark. Thick walls made of advanced metal protected the chambers holding the ancient technology. Layers of shielding hid it from detection, but the Seraphin knew its location. Somehow across the vast distance of space they had mapped it. Their ships were moving straight toward the oceans. At the lunar station, Eric Dawson watched the attack unfold. "They're scattering their fleet to confuse our trackers," he said. "Should we fire?" a young officer asked. Eric shook his head. "Not yet. Let them move closer. If we fire too early, they will change formation and avoid the trap." He knew their time was limited. The moon would be the first major target. If it fell, Earth's upper defenses would weaken. On Earth, Ethan Hale and Laura Briggs sat in the signal room, surrounded by voices shouting updates and numbers. They kept their eyes fixed on the waves of intercepted communication from the Seraphin. "This part again," Laura said, pointing at a repeated cluster of patterns. Ethan leaned closer. "It's new. They weren't sending this earlier." She nodded. "It looks like a command to break formation." Ethan felt his heart beat faster. "Then they are starting their descent," Laura swallowed. "That means they're preparing to enter Earth's atmosphere or strike the ocean directly." Ethan turned to the nearest officer. "We found a shift in their pattern. They are sending commands that match a diving formation." The officer nodded quickly and relayed the message. Melissa heard it seconds later. "They are beginning Phase 3 of their attack." Daniel stepped forward. "Then activate Wave 2. Hold nothing back." Wave 2 was not made of drones. It was something far more dangerous. Hidden in Earth's orbit were Guardian sentry platforms, old but still powerful. They held long-range energy disruptors designed decades ago for a threat most people never believed in. Their systems warmed now, humming softly. "Charge complete," a voice reported. "Fire," Melissa ordered. The disruptors released beams of silent force. They did not shine, but their effect was instant. A Seraphin ship wavered, its shadow like surface flickering. Then a large hole appeared near its center. The ship fell out of formation, but the Seraphin did not slow down. Instead, the fallen ship released a burst of energy as it collapsed. The explosion created a shockwave that struck several Guardian platforms. "We lost Stations 7 and 9, a technician called. Daniel clenched his jaw. "Reroute control to the backup grid. Keep firing." The battle above Earth grew intense. Silent attacks, invisible pulses, and dark flashes filled the space near the planet. Meanwhile, the main Seraphin strike group broke from the others and headed straight toward the Pacific region. Their sleek ships cut through space like knives. Melissa looked at the path. "They are going for the core facility. They want the quantum engine." Ethan heard her from across the room. "Quantum engine," Daniel approached him. "It is an old device. Not human, but we guard it. If misused, it can change matter at the smallest level. Nothing in the universe is more dangerous." Laura stared. "And they want to steal it," Daniel nodded. "Or destroy it. Either is unacceptable." Far above the Pacific, clouds began to swirl unnaturally as the Seraphin ships approached. They released thin, needle-like probes that fell through the air, slicing through wind and pressure with no resistance. On the ocean floor, the Guardians activated the shield around the core facility. A faint vibration ran through the water. The shield shimmered like a giant bubble. The first Seraphim probe struck the shield. A bright ripple spread across the water. The probe broke apart, dissolving into nothing. More probes followed. The shield held, but each hit weakened it. In the main Guardian base, Melissa watched the readings drop. The shield will not last if the main ships join the attack. Daniel nodded. We need to intercept them before they reach the ocean. Above the atmosphere, Guardian fighters launched. These were small, sleek crafts run by trained pilots who had waited their whole lives for this moment. They flew upward in tight formations. On one of the fighters, a young pilot named Sam Cooper looked out at the black sky. "I never thought this day would come," he whispered. His co-pilot replied, "Then let's make it count." They pushed forward, engines glowing gently. The Seraphim saw them coming. Their ships released small, sharp drones. The drones moved like metal insects, cutting across the path of the Guardian fighters. The air above the planet filled with streaks of energy and flashes of light. The fighters dodged and weaved, trying to outmaneuver the Seraphim drones. Sam Cooper fired at one of the drones. It exploded in a burst of sparks. Another drone hit his wing, but he regained control. Ethan and Laura watched the aerial battle on the large screen. Ethan whispered, "They're strong, too strong." Laura didn't look away. "But we're still fighting, and we're not done yet." Inside the ocean, the shield around the core facility began to flicker. Pressure alarms rang across the underwater base. A Guardian engineer, Claire Warren, called out, "We can reroute extra power to the shield, but it will only give us a few more minutes." "Do it," one of the officers replied. Claire tapped a series of commands. The lights flickered as power shifted. The shield grew brighter, but the Seraphim ships were now entering the atmosphere. Melissa saw it first. "They are descending, this is it." Daniel turned to the room. "All teams prepare for final engagement. This battle decides everything." The Seraphim ships cut through the clouds, trailing no smoke. They moved like dark blades. They aimed for the ocean with terrifying precision. Guardian fighters flew toward them, firing bursts of plasma. Some Seraphim ships were damaged, but none fell. A large Seraphim cruiser opened a glowing slit near its center. A beam of pale energy shot downward. It pierced the ocean and struck the shield. The shield cracked. Water surged. Pressure alarms screamed. Claire staggered as the ground shook. "The shield is breaking," Daniel saw the readings. "We need to activate the swarm now." Melissa pressed a command. "Swarm release." Deep below the ocean, hundreds of silent Guardian drones woke up. They were shaped like small discs, smooth and dark. They shot upward into the water column. They surrounded the Seraphim beam and began releasing interference pulses. The beam flickered, then it shut off. The Seraphim cruiser shuddered, its surface rippled like liquid. Melissa watched. "They didn't expect interference that strong." Daniel nodded. "Good, now press." The swarm continued upward, attacking the incoming Seraphim ships. The water lit with bursts of energy, but the Seraphim still pushed downward. Time was running out. Ethan suddenly noticed something strange in the signals. "Laura, look. The command ship is sending a new pattern." Laura widened her eyes. "They are preparing a full strike." Daniel heard them. "Can you locate the command ship?" Ethan typed quickly. "Yes, it's the one leading the descent path." Melissa leaned over. "If we destroy that ship, the fleet will fall into confusion." Daniel didn't hesitate. "Target it. All long-range weapons focus on the command ship." The Guardian platforms aligned. The Seraphim command ship formed another glowing slit. Ethan whispered, "It's going to fire." Melissa said calmly, "So are we." The sky lit with energy. Guardian beams cut upward. The Seraphim beam shot downward. Both collided. The ocean churned. Clouds tore apart. The command ship shook with violent ripples. Then the Seraphim beam stopped. A moment later, the command ship split down the middle. Silence followed, then chaos. The rest of the Seraphim fleet staggered, losing coordination. Their drones drifted without direction. Melissa said softly, "They lost their center." Daniel exhaled. "Then this is our chance." Every Guardian weapon, drone, and fighter struck at once. The remaining Seraphim ships fell back. Some exploded, some drifted downward, some tried to escape, but none reached the ocean. The shield around the core facility flickered, then steadied. Ethan leaned back in his chair, exhausted. "We did it," Laura smiled weakly. "We stopped them." Daniel heard their words, but he wasn't relaxed yet. "This battle is over," he said, "but not the war. The Seraphim will not accept defeat. They will come again." And next time they will strike harder, Melissa nodded. Then we must finish this first. Daniel looked toward the ocean on the screen. Prepare the quantum engine. They forced our hand. The Guardians had won the battle, but now they had to make a choice that would change the fate of the galaxy. The silent war was entering its final stage. The ocean slowly calmed as the last Seraphin ship fell apart in the sky, crashing into the water with a dull flash. The smoke faded, leaving only quiet waves and broken shadows drifting beneath the surface. But inside the Guardian base, no one felt relief. They all knew the truth. The Seraphin were not finished. This was only a small part of their strength. The main danger had not arrived yet. Deep inside the Pacific facility, lights flickered back on. Machines hummed again. The ancient chambers, hidden for so long, prepared themselves for one final command. Engineers moved quickly, checking cables, reading screens, and unlocking old seals. At the center of the chamber stood the quantum engine. It was a quiet machine, small and smooth, with soft lights glowing inside its core. It did not look like something powerful. It did not look dangerous, but Daniel Brooks knew what it could do. He stood before it, listening to the faint hum. Melissa Hart entered the chamber and walked beside him. "It is stable," she said. "But once we activate it, everything changes." Daniel nodded slowly. "We did not want this, but the Seraphin gave us no choice. If we wait, they will send another fleet, a larger one. We cannot stop that with our normal defenses." Melissa looked at the glowing engine. "If we activate it, they will be erased." Daniel stared at the machine. "Not destroyed, removed, taken out of history. Their existence will fade from all memory, from every record, from every timeline." Melissa took a slow breath. "It feels strange, like we are stepping into something that no one should ever touch." Daniel placed a hand on the control panel. "But we protect humanity, we protect Earth, even when the world does not know who we are." Far above the ocean, the sky darkened once more. Something large approached, something bigger than any of the Seraphin ships they had seen before. The air shook slightly as it grew closer. Ethan Hale, who was watching the long-range signals, felt his hands freeze. "Laura," he whispered, "something new is coming." Laura Briggs hurried to his side. When she saw the readings, her breath caught. "This is not like the others, it is massive." "Is it the main Seraphin ship?" Ethan asked. Laura nodded slowly. "It might be." The command room filled with alerts. People raised their voices, trying to understand the new threat. Screens flashed red. Symbols appeared that no one had seen before. Melissa heard the alarm and ran back to the command deck. "What is happening?" A tech officer pointed at the map. "A super-class ship is entering the orbit zone. It is larger than any known Seraphin design. It is heading toward Earth." Daniel joined them. "Estimate time until impact." 20 minutes, the officer said. "Maybe less." Daniel looked at Melissa. "We do not have time to fight that ship." "We do not," she replied. "We must finish the activation." Earth shook lightly beneath their feet as the massive Seraphin ship entered the atmosphere. Clouds twisted around it. Smaller Seraphin drones flew around its sides like sparks around a fire. Guardian fighters tried to intercept, but their weapons barely scratched the thick armor. One by one, the fighters were forced back or destroyed. Sam Cooper's fighter shook violently as he dodged a blast. "We can't hold them," his co-pilot shouted. Sam gritted his teeth. "Then we slow them, as much as we can." The Guardian fighters looped around the giant ship, firing again and again, trying to distract it. But the Seraphin supership continued toward the ocean. Inside the command room, Ethan and Laura worked faster than ever. Ethan kept track of the ship's descent speed. Laura decoded every signal they intercepted. "They are preparing a planet strike," Laura said. "Not just the core, they want to hit the entire region." Ethan looked at Daniel. "If that hits, the whole ocean floor could collapse." Daniel nodded. "Then we cannot wait. Melissa, start the activation." Melissa ran back to the engine chamber. Engineers stepped aside as she approached the control panel. She placed her hand on the final switch, starting activation sequence. The engine lights grew brighter, the hum deepened, the chamber filled with a soft vibration. Daniel entered the chamber moments later. "Status." "The engine is waking up," Melissa said, "but it needs time." Daniel frowned. "How much time?" An engineer replied nervously. 5 minutes, maybe 6. Daniel knew they did not have that long. Above the ocean, the Seraphin supership opened a massive slit. far larger than the one fired by the previous command ship. A pale light glowed inside it, swirling like a storm. Sam Cooper saw it. "They're charging something huge," his co-pilot shouted. "We need to warn them." Sam pushed the fighter forward. "We stay in front of it. They need every second." The Guardian fighters moved in front of the giant ship, blocking its path. They fired desperately, even though their weapons barely touched it. The Seraphim ship ignored them. Inside the ocean facility, the engine hummed louder, the lights flickered. Symbols appeared across the chamber walls, symbols older than humanity. Melissa checked the readings. "We are close, just a little more." Daniel looked at her. "Once this starts, there is no undoing it. Are you ready?" Melissa met his eyes. "We protect Earth, that is our purpose." Ethan and Laura ran into the chamber. "The ship is almost in range," Ethan said. "The strike will hit within moments." Daniel closed his eyes for 1 second. Then he turned toward the engine. "Begin final phase." Melissa touched the activation panel. The engine glowed white. A deep sound filled the chamber, shaking the ground. The ocean above them rumbled. Water churned violently. The Seraphim ship aimed its weapon downward. In the sky, Sam Cooper shouted, "They're firing!" A giant beam of pale energy shot downward. At the exact same moment, the quantum engine activated. A shockwave of silent light spread outward from the ocean floor, moving faster than sound, faster than sight. It passed through the water, the air, and the sky. When it touched the Seraphim beam, the beam vanished. When it touched the giant Seraphim ship, the ship shimmered. Its shape blurred, its metal skin turned to dust. Then its dust turned to nothing. Sam Cooper watched the ship fade into emptiness. What just happened? Before his eyes, every Seraphim drone around the ship dissolved into thin air. On the ground, Ethan saw the readings shift. "Their signals are disappearing," Laura gasped. "They are being erased." Across the world, every trace of the Seraphim vanished. Their ships, their machines, their signals, their records, everything was gone, but it did not stop there. In star systems far away, where the rest of the Seraphim Empire lived, something strange happened. Their buildings faded. Their archives emptied. Their memories erased themselves. The entire Seraphim dominion was removed from history. Back in the Guardian chamber, the engine dimmed. The hum fell quiet. Melissa stepped back, breathing hard. "It is done." Daniel lowered his hand. "We ended them completely." Ethan stared at the now quiet engine. "Will anyone remember them?" Daniel shook his head. "Only the Guardians, only those who stood here today. The rest of the world will continue as if they never existed." Laura whispered, "Is that right? To erase them completely?" Daniel turned toward her. "They chose to attack us. They would have wiped us out if we failed. We did what we had to do." The ocean calmed again. The waves softened. The facility grew quiet. Hours later, the Guardian base slowly returned to normal. Systems turned off. Alarms faded. People rested, exhausted. Ethan and Laura sat outside the main control room. Ethan rubbed his eyes. "Do you think the world will ever know?" Laura shook her head. "They will never know how close they came to disappearing." Melissa joined them. "We do not fight for thanks. We fight because someone must protect Earth, even if no one sees us." Daniel walked to the center of the room and addressed everyone. "Today, we saved humanity, but our work is not finished. The universe is wide, and there may be other threats. We will remain vigilant. We will remain silent. We are the guardians of Earth." Outside, the sun rose over a calm ocean. People around the world woke to a peaceful day, unaware that the greatest danger in their history had just been removed. No one would remember the Seraphim. No one except the Guardians. And Earth moved forward safe again because of a war fought in silence, a war erased from every book, every mind, and every star. The silent war had ended, but the Guardians stood ready, watching the sky, waiting for the next shadow that might dare to come.